Oh, I can't believe I'm about to do this. Ryuki from Pokemon Generation 7. If you don't know who he is, then you probably don't know me as well as you think you may. If you think you know me. If you don't know me, then... literally, how in the world did you find this video? So Ryuki is an obscure character who first appears like a needle in a haystack in Pokemon Sun and Moon, and then a slightly bigger needle in a haystack in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. He also appears for about 3 minutes in the anime, and then as an NPC in the mobile game Pokemon Masters, and as of the time of this video was recorded, he has been an NPC for 1 month shy of 2 years. Dina, I swear to God, if Ryuki isn't out by the second rerun of Summer Superstars, I'm gonna start being a little bit more annoying than I usually am about it. Essentially, Ryuki is known just enough to have a sort of community formed around him, and despite our many different ideas about him, we can all agree on 2 things. 1, Ryuki Day is an annual holiday celebrated on June 9th, and 2, he's transgender. I'm not gonna deny that this was pretty much my idea, which is something I'm not saying like, oh, it's my idea, I own it. No, I'm just the one who brought it up in concept and everyone was like, yeah, I can see that. I wanted to talk about this for Ryuki Day this year because, yes, we purposefully made it in the middle of Pride Month, hence the art that I made for it last year. Anyway, I have exactly 3 reasons why I think Ryuki, specifically the portrayal of him from the anime, is a trans man. It should go without saying, but I will clarify that no, I don't believe that the writers intended this, and it is the absolute written in stone truth, and nobody's allowed to disagree with me. I just think that analyzing characters and giving them fun little headcanons is fun. So here are my 3 reasons, each of which I will elaborate on extensively. Point 1, the way he reacts to being called boss instead of leader. Something I know from experience is that the difference between a boss and a leader is that a boss is someone who tells a team or an individual what to do but doesn't necessarily contribute anything other than that. Meanwhile, a leader is someone who actively works alongside the team or individual while guiding them. That being said, Ryuki being referred to as boss probably makes him feel like his efforts aren't being considered and appreciated. Additionally, Ryuki aspires to be a gym leader, hence the word leader being a closer term to what he actually wants to be called, but he knows he's in an illegitimate gym. Part of him is in denial. That's what we can assume from canon. But let me point out, his reaction to being called boss is different based on who said it. When Rotom, someone he didn't know, called him boss, he very firmly stated, I mean, he shouted it, that he didn't like being called that.
Really? Is that their boss?
Who dares to address me by such a lame name?
However, when Charlie, who is someone we can easily assume he's been around for a while, calls him boss, he gets really frustrated, which could indicate that this is something that keeps happening.
Boss, I'd like you to battle these 3 challengers.
Boss is such a lame name! Call me leader! Leader!
Hell, Charlie and the other ninjas even referred to him as their boss when he wasn't around to correct them.
Whoever beats all of us gets to battle our boss.
I felt like that has a lot of similarities to when a trans person has to specify their name and pronouns, especially if they're saying it when they aren't passing 100% or to someone who they knew before they came out. I feel like Charlie and the other ninjas could have had another leader that Ryuki later replaced, and that person didn't mind being called boss, so that's a habit they still haven't gotten out of, and Ryuki has become a little bit impatient with that. I don't really blame him. On to point 2.
Our leader refuses to have anything to do with the ninja style.
Being invisible's not his thing.
Oh, Sophocles, you have no idea, buddy! Okay, bear with me. Actually, there's a cat with me, but, you get the idea. At his introduction, Charlie says that line right after Ryuki corrects him for calling him the wrong term. Ryuki is different from the ninjas. What does that have to do with the idea of him being trans? What's the analogy? Gender roles, I guess. Ryuki says, I'm forging my own path with no intention of ever changing my style. I should probably edit that in instead.
I'm forging my own path with no intention of ever changing my style!
But he says this before Charlie said the first line. He says it immediately after introducing himself, which implies that it's a question he gets a lot, so he just answers it before it can even be asked. He doesn't fit, but he's not excluded. He's different, an odd one out. people are weird to him about it. They question it, Charlie has to explain it to them, but he just wants to be the leader of a gym. What's wrong with that? And this gym is really his only option. Come on, man. Be nice to the guy. God, why not make it so that the environment is more accepting of people like him? It seems like this is a relatively new thing to the ninjas, but they appear to be trying at least. I mean, their gym is not even based off of Alola. Their gym isn't even based on Alola, it's based on Kanto, and then they fanboy over Ash and, you know, coming over and being like, oh yeah, I'm from Kanto, and they're like, oh, really? And it's like, okay, so this other guy comes over, and he's like, I'm so sorry, Ryuki. I'm sorry. Why is it so hard for you? Damn it, I will fight. I will fucking fight. I'm very suddenly aware of how my first 2 points make it sound like the ninjas are transphobic, or just quote-unquote allies, and I'm so sorry, as funny as that is, but don't worry, here's the third and final point that I actually think is the most credible one. Point 3. Ryuki is very conscious of his appearance. So, during the battle between Ryuki and Ash, Meltan gets on Ryuki's boot and eats the metal spikes on it. Upon seeing that happen, Ryuki promptly loses his mind. He cries out that his outfit is ruined, and then immediately after that, you can hear him say something along the lines of, "You're messing with my image." I like to think that he said, "You've bastardized my image," but he definitely didn't. Listen, if you want to hear Ryuki swear, just go follow Adam and the Metal Hawks. Back to poor Ryuki here. You can barely hear the rest of what he says, but he's sent into a real panic. Though it was just his boot, he's very particular about how he looks and presents himself. Now, many would look at this and say, oh, he's just full of himself. And yeah, he is, but when you put it in the context of him being trans, that just makes you realize, oh, wait, he's worked so hard to present himself in such a way after he struggled with it, and it kinda got a bit messed up, and I can totally see why he'd lose his cool right now. But here's another thing. Ryuki isn't actually super full of himself. He's proud, but he's not inconsiderate, and you can tell because of how he treats Ash and Meltan after he calms down. Someone who is totally selfish, like cartoonishly selfish and inconsiderate, would have condemned them straight away. He would have kicked them out, like right then and there. But Ryuki welcomed them. He noticed that Meltan wanted to be involved in some way, and he made sure that Meltan wasn't excluded. If that doesn't scream, I know how it feels to be in your position, then I don't know what does, because according to the previous notes, that's exactly how Ryuki has felt before. Additionally, to back up the point of him being aware of his appearance, he canonically hides his face behind his hair because he's self-conscious about his baby face. Look right here, in the notes that I will not shut up about, is this little note, this right here. Look, listen. There's a lot of things that need to be talked about. That happens to men that struggle to grow facial hair, but once again, put it in a trans context and it makes a lot of sense. And yeah, that's literally all the evidence I really have, at least for the anime portrayal of Ryuki. Since Ryuki doesn't appear very often, there's not a lot of content we can pick from. So we really don't get the same kind of information from the games and the manga that we do from the anime. However, I think this one quote from the champion title defense battle in Alola games could possibly be read in a trans context. It says, "I dig you, champ. Looks like you know who you are. 2. Right down to your bones." Two. It's like you had to figure that out? You know what I mean? He had to figure that out, and it just, if only we went beyond the Pikachu with the heart tail that she made herself and the beauty from X and Y. My god, a named canonically trans character, churches would be set ablaze. It would be like when Madonna released Like a Virgin. I can't put into words why I feel that way about that quote, but it just hits me a little harder than usual. Probably as a fellow musician. It hurts me. So yeah, like I said before, not a lot of content to draw from. Maybe by some miracle, something could be taken from Ryuki's future dialogue that can be seen in Pokemon Masters when Dina actually decides to stop shoving Lily and Giovanni in our faces for 5 frickin' seconds. I'm pretty sure I just hit a wasp nest with the baseball bat by saying that. Not gonna lie, when writing the script for this video, I started to wonder how I was able to find more evidence surrounding the gender of the daycare attendant from Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach being some form of transgender rather than Ryuki. That's another video I made, by the way. It's on my channel. It looks like this. You should watch it. I spent way too much time on it. I think the reason why there wasn't a lot of evidence was because, unlike the daycare attendant, Ryuki is never really acknowledged by the environment or other characters in the mainline games, meaning we have a lot fewer context clues. He makes brief appearances in the anime, manga, and in Masters, but he doesn't have a lot of evidence of presence, or, in other words, an impact. In the anime, he does serve an important role in the episode he appears in, but usually when he's acknowledged by other characters, they really just talk about how weird and different he is, which is something I basically summarized in point 2. In the manga, he's this chaotic neutral guy who just wants to battle the Ultra Beast just to say that he did, but is tricked by Faba into getting dragged into the plot. Like, we gotta include this guy somehow. Basically, my point is, Ryuki hasn't really been given a chance to stand on his own as a character in most of his appearances, and if he ever does, he's only there for a really short amount of time before he vanishes back into the shadows. I'm really only bringing this up because I want to remind you all of that this is what we're working with here. This is all we've got. Like,
Now you listen to me, Dina. I am talking directly into your ear now. I need you to do me a favor. You will do this for me. Add Ryuki to your playable roster by next month. If you come back with nothing but another set of alts, you'll be in big trouble, mister. You will never see the light of day.
For legal purposes, I want to inform all of those not in the know that that was a copy pasta. I'm not actually threatening it. Anyway, I can only make this video so long. We've already talked about Ryuki being trans. The point has been accomplished. I think it would be better if I just saved all the other topics surrounding him for other videos and then make a giant playlist of me losing my mind. So yeah, thank you for listening to me ramble again. I'm tired. Have a good day.